Oh my god. That's so crazy. I was not planning to do this video yet, but I think I'm gonna do it. I think it's time. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Mariana. I'm 23 years old, and if you don't know me, my name is Mariana. Okay, so this is a video I really wanted to do. Before I started my Vlogmas series, which this is my first time doing, guys. I've never done Vlogmas before because I'm very new to YouTube. I've been on here like a month and a half, too. This is something I really wanted to do because when I asked on Instagram, I was like, guys, what should I do? Give me ideas. Somebody said, they were like, do a story time of Christmas growing up. Now, Christmas growing up hits me a little bit harder than, it's just Christmas growing up. To me, it wasn't just Christmas growing up. So if you found me through here and you don't really know too much about me and you don't follow me on social media, I'm not a US born alien. That's how you say it? I was not born in the United States. I'm Colombian. I was born in Colombia, and I came to this country when I was 5 years old. So the reason I mention that is because that right there just plays a huge role in how my life went growing up, and essentially how being an immigrant affected the way that my holidays went growing up. So for Christmas, a lot of people have traditions, a lot of people have, family things, and growing up, I really never had any traditions. It was always just me and my mom. Hold on, let me run it back. Let me run it back real quick. So it is about to make a year. Not yet. It's about to be like, what, 9 months? Oh my god, I can't believe it's about to be 9 months since I became a US citizen. Now, to me, that's one of my biggest accomplishments. It's huge. It's huge. Because for somebody who lived in this country as an immigrant, majority of my life, really, it's crazy. I mean, I'm still an immigrant, but I now am a US citizen. Although for the last 6 years, I have not been an illegal immigrant. It's still, yeah, okay. So, so pretty much, growing up, it was just, I don't even know where to start. Let me just give you guys a little bit of background because I think I'm gonna do I'm gonna talk about my childhood growing up a little bit more when I do story times. But let me give you guys a little bit of background. Okay, so growing up, Christmas for me was a very sad time. It was a very sad time. I was an only child until I was 10 years old. My brother and I have a 10-year gap difference. And so for a long time, it was just my mother and I. Now, I don't want to say it was just my mother and I because my mom, she really did her thing to do everything for me. And she brought anybody who had a visa and wanted to come and was willing to come for the holidays, they were here. So I definitely have the greatest memories because my mom really made shit happen no matter what. But growing up, to me, the holidays it was always very emotional. It was very emotional, it was like a trigger for me in a way, up until the first time I went back to my country and I was able to say, okay, you know what, I can go back whenever I want. It's no longer a trigger. But growing up, it would always hit me a little bit harder that I was not able to be with my family around this time. So if you are from a different country, if you are from South America, then you probably know what I mean. Holidays are celebrated 100% differently. I mean, at least in my country, Christmas, the holidays, all that, it's so different. The vibe, the food, the music, the people, everything. So here in the United States, it's still very festive, but it's a different vibe. And okay, because I'm just kind of going, let me go here. So I came to this country when I was 5 years old. Now, a lot of people, when they hear that, they're like, 5, you were so young, you don't remember anything. That's not true. So I believe, and I am pretty sure this is a fact, I believe that a lot of times our memory is affected by trauma. So either your brain can choose to completely wipe out a certain period of your life, or the trauma is so there that you don't wipe it, and more so you engrave it into your mind. And that was what happened to me. My trauma was coming to this country, and I know it sounds super, super, super crazy, but coming to this country did bring me a lot of trauma because I was so young. I had such an environment. If you guys watch like maybe like some of my first vlogs, maybe like my first three vlogs when I was in Colombia, you guys can kind of see the environment that I was around, especially being at my father's. So I went from being around that to coming to this country that I did not know I was coming to live in, and that caused a lot of trauma. So during the holidays, you know, that was all in my head. Like I went from this to that. And even though I was with my mother, it hit me really hard when you go from being with a big family and having certain, you know, traditions. On Christmas you do this and then you do that, and you have these activities, and you know, it's a big family things, to just you and one parent. It's trauma. So growing up, I would always get very depressed. I started suffering with depression at the age of 5. And I know that's like super young. And some people are like, what? You can't be depressed at 5. But it's just like, listen, I was diagnosed with depression at 5 years old. I began taking therapy at 5 years old. Wow. I was seeing psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, everything, you name it, at 5 years old, because my mom was very worried about me, because coming to this country really had a huge impact on my mental health. That's crazy, right? Who would think? Oh my God. Yeah, that's wild. This country, I did not know I was coming to live here. We used to travel a lot. That was one thing. My mom was super adamant about me getting out and about with my grandparents, my aunts. My mom was always working, but she always made sure that I was outside, literally. So I traveled a lot. I traveled a lot within the country, meaning Colombia. So I was always out and about. We came to Miami. That was the first place we ever came to in the United States. We came to Miami. We came to Miami like twice before we actually moved to the US. So when I came to Miami, you know, in my head, like, okay, sorry guys, my camera died. Okay, so when we would come to Miami, you know, to me it was just like, okay, any other trip. It wasn't anything like, okay, you know, yeah. It was very normal to me. Hopping on a plane and traveling, it was very normal to me. So it was like, all right, cool. And then when I came to this country to actually live here, I didn't know I was coming here to live. You know, at the time, obviously, like, I was very little. So it's like, even if somebody told me, like, how would I have took it? But definitely knew, you know, there was something changing, because my mom came here first, and then I was left back for about a month, and I was very attached to my mom. I was like a mama's girl, 100%. And so when I noticed, you know, my mom was gone and I was always with my dad and his family, you know, I was on the farm. I remember I would talk to my mom on the phone, and I would sit under my grandpa's desk and I would tell her, like, when are you coming? When are you gonna come get me? Like, where are you? And this is what I mean by, you can either choose to completely erase a traumatic experience, or it can mark you and you can really remember it forever. So to me, that was very traumatic. And then it wasn't really up until, you know, it was maybe like when I turned five, my grandmother brought me. And to me, that wasn't, I'm going to another country. It was, I'm traveling, because, you know, in my head, I traveled so much that it was like, you know, it's just another trip. I was so little. It was like, okay, my mom's not here. Like, I haven't seen my mom, but it wasn't like a big thing to me like that, where I was like crazy. When I got here, I remember the day I got here. I remember I had a book bag full of Barbies. I probably had like 50 Barbies in there. And when I got here, we arrived at JFK, and well, my mom's cousin took me to the car, and my mom was there, and I was like, oh my God. And I was so happy. I was so happy to see my mom. And I came here in March 2000. I came here March 2003. So I had just turned 5, and it was interesting. It was very interesting. It was just, you know, like, my mom was staying with her cousin for a little bit, but then it was like she obviously had to get a place, and we got a place. And it was very interesting coming up, because to me, I didn't really realize how this was like now my new home. I didn't realize how, okay, I'm here to stay. And I know it sounds a little crazy, because it's just like, how do you not? But it's just like, I was so young. But I think as the holidays started to come around, that's when it really made sense, especially when I started school, because I used to go to an all-girls Catholic school. And then starting school here was very different. You know, it's public school, it's mixed, there was no uniforms. It was very different. But then around the holidays, that's when it would really hit me like, oh shit, like, this is my new life. So the holidays for me were like pretty sad. They were really sad. I used to miss my dad a lot. I used to miss my dad all the time. And, you know, it wasn't really up until maybe I was like 7 when my mom had got our first decent apartment. And, you know, we had a tree, and I got so many gifts. You know, even the first Christmas that we spent here in the US, we didn't have a tree. We used to rent a room in my best friend's house. It was like, her house is like a 2-family house. So then one side they rent rooms, and we used to rent a room. So for that Christmas, we didn't have a tree, because, you know, it was just a little room, and me and my mom slept on a twin mattress on the floor. But my mom still made it happen. She laid out all my gifts on the bed. We went to church on Christmas morning. We went to church, and when I came back, everything was laid out on the bed. Oh my God. Damn, that's crazy. Wow. Wow. I remember that. I didn't think I was gonna get more. But I remember that. I really, really do. And it was, to me, it was so special, because it was like, you know, we got home. I wasn't expecting that. I was so little. I was not expecting that. But I also grew up with my best friend's family, because her mom was my babysitter, so she raised me. And so I saw how they had the whole Christmas and the whole holiday tradition. So growing up, I was very fortunate that I was able to be part of her family, because all my mom did was work. When I was maybe up until I was like 8 or 9. But our first Christmas, you know, we had a little apartment. It was haunted. We had a little apartment. She got a real tree. It was huge. It was beautiful. I remember I wanted so many gifts under the tree that I wrapped everything in my house. Everything. I wrapped it myself. Everything. I wrapped everything I could find. I wrapped mugs and this and that. And then on actual Christmas, I opened all that stuff. But then I had like a ton of gifts because I was the only child. And then after that, we moved into our first apartment, which was like a home. It was beautiful. And then at that point, my mom was no longer working. You know, she had met my stepfather, so she was not working. She was full-time stay-at-home mom. And that's when, you know, that's when the real holiday memories like started for me. And it was a very, really, really blessed childhood, even though I would get really sad because I didn't have my family. I was so blessed. I think that my mom was able to cover that up. And sometimes I would tell my mom, like, you can't, and this is crazy because this was coming from a child. This was coming from a child. I wasn't even 10. And I would tell my mom, like, you can't, you can't cover up a missing piece of my heart with material things. So I would pretty much tell her, like, you know, you give me so much material, like so like all these toys and clothes. I had everything I wanted growing up. I was very, very fortunate because my stepfather, you know, played a huge role in allowing my mom to be able to give me the best life ever. And my mom, you know, she gave me whatever I wanted, and what I really wanted was my family. And of course, like, it was very frustrating because we were immigrants. We didn't have papers. We did not have papers, and we couldn't leave. You know, if you're an immigrant, you know, once you overstay your first 6 months, which usually, like, by the first 3 months, if you stayed, it's kind of like, but we overstayed. And after that, it was like, you know, if you leave the country, you can't come back. You cannot come back. And for you to ever come back into the US after you overstay your visa, it's like almost impossible. Like, very, very, very rare. You know, and I remember, you know, growing up, I wouldn't write letters to Santa for what I wanted. Growing up, I was told it was baby Jesus that gave you the gifts, that delivered the gifts. So when I would write my letters during the holidays, I would always ask for a visa and to see my father, to go to Colombia. That was all I wanted. Growing up during this time of year, all I wanted was to be in Colombia. That's all I wanted. All I wanted. So yeah, it was really hard on me. Even though, like, I had everything I could want. You know, I was so fortunate, so blessed. And even all of that didn't fill that void of not having my family. So when I talked to my dad on the phone, I'd be like, Papi, I'm coming home. I'm going home for Christmas. You know, I was so little, I didn't know. And I'd be like, I'm gonna come see you, this and that. My dad obviously knew, but he would, like, kind of play along. He'd be like, yeah. It's really sad. It was like this for a very long time. It was like that for a very, very long time. I thought in my head that, you know, next Christmas, I'm gonna see my dad. Next Christmas, I'm gonna go on a plane. Next Christmas. And yeah, being an immigrant really, really did a lot to my life. I'm just talking like holiday edition in general, but like being an immigrant really, really hit me during these times because I didn't have say. My mom didn't have say what to do. Like, it was like, you know, she would bring family. I spent majority of all my Christmases growing up with my grandmother, which I have her name right here, my angel. I spent a lot of the holidays like with my aunt, you know, my grandparents. She would bring them, and then for summer she would bring my father's parents like the whole summer. My mom was very on that. Like, she had that very in check, making sure that whoever could come that had, you know, a visa would come. So if you had a visa, you were coming. She was bringing you. My father never got a visa until this day. He does not have a visa. That's, you know, that was my main reason for becoming a citizen, was for my dad. But yeah, it was very, very, very sad for me, like internally, because my mom has family here, and we would go to these crazy parties. It was like till 4 or 5 in the morning, you know, people, parties, food, that Colombian tradition. But that wasn't my family. So it was like, it was hard. It was really hard. It was really hard. And then, like, when Skype came out and we were able to get on Skype and then see through Skype, that's when it really, really broke me. And it was like, you know, because it was like, it was hard. It was really hard. And oh man. And all this was broken and, you know, finally finished when I was able to go back. I became a resident when I was 16 years old in 2014. In 2014, well, my mother got married. She got married to my stepfather. And, you know, through him, we were able to get papers. But I did not go back up until I was 17. So for Christmas, when I was 17, my mom, one day she came in my room. I remember I was a junior in high school. And she came in my room and she was like, so, because my mom's like that. She's very last minute, terrible habit. She was like, so, you want to go to Colombia or what? And I'm like, what? She was like, you want to go? You want to go? You want to go? You want to go? Tell me now. Tell me now. Tell me now. And I'm like, okay. All right. And she was like, okay, I'm buying the ticket right now. Okay. She paid, my mom paid, how much did she pay? She paid like $2,500. She paid like $2,500 for my ticket because she bought my ticket. It was like middle of December, maybe around this time. That's so crazy. I'm gonna check. I don't have my phone here. I think I went to Colombia for the first time. I think it was like December 17th, 18th, around this time. And she bought my ticket like 2 days before. And then she's like, okay, you're leaving in 2 days. Pack. And I'm like, okay. And this was my first time going back since I was 5. Wow. That was my first time going back since I was 5. I was about to be 18. My dad saw me for the last time when I was 5 years old, and he saw me again when I was 3 months, about to turn 18. Yeah. Wow. That was the best Christmas gift I ever got. Best Christmas gift. I remember going to the airport, because whenever I'd go to the airport when I was little to like take my family, I would always pretend I was the one traveling. And and that time it was like, that was me. It was my turn. It was my turn. I had the suitcase. I had the passport. I had the ticket. And getting on a plane for the first time, you know, it was like, when we got to Colombia, you see outside the window, it's all mountains, like where I'm from. it's very mountainy. Like it's like mountains. Like you see, like you step out of my mom's house and you go down the street, there's a mountain. Like you see mountains everywhere. It's like that's why when I went to LA, I loved it so much because it reminded me so much of Medellin. And there was mountains everywhere, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? And I looked out the window and I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this? You know, getting off the plane and going through immigration and everything, all that was just like, damn, like I'm here, like I'm here. This is what I wanted my whole life. This is the type of Christmas I wanted. And I remember, you know, we just like, I was like in shock. I'm like, what is this? Because in my head, you know, once I got to a certain age, I accepted I'm never going back to my country. I'm never going back to my country. I'm never gonna see my father again. So it was like, wow, you know, wow. It's like, damn. And this was in 2015. This was December 2015. And you know, we went, I got to my mom's house. As soon as I walked in, I kind of, you know, I started crying immediately because it felt very empty without my grandmother. Like I immediately felt her presence missing. But it was the most amazing feeling ever. It was like, damn, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted my holidays to be. And I got it. And when I saw my dad didn't pick me up at the airport, but he got there, like to the house, like maybe like 20 minutes after I got there. And I saw him, and my dad and I always kept in contact. You know, we were always in each other's lives, but obviously physically not. And when I saw my dad, it was like he saw a woman. He saw a woman. He saw a woman. His daughter. He saw his daughter. He saw the little girl he took and put on that plane. And that Christmas was the best Christmas of my life. You know, I have beautiful holidays now. You know, I have my kids, and it's, you know, but it's just that Christmas was able to heal my childhood. That Christmas healed my childhood's holiday depression. It did. I had the most amazing time. It was like immediately everything that mattered during the holidays no longer mattered, because I knew I could go home. I knew I could see my father. I knew, like, I'm free. That's really how it felt. It felt like I was free. And oh man, we did so much. I was there for like a week and a half because I had school. And I was, oh my God, it was amazing. It was amazing. That's just all I have to say. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was so amazing. I had the best time. I was with my family. It was just everything I wanted growing up. Everything I wanted growing up. Everything. You know, even though I had such a beautiful childhood here, you know, my mom used to go all out decorating. My mom is a Christmas freak. That's why I have all these Santas, because she is like obsessed. But you know, it was just like that missing thing, and it was that emotion, that family love. And my mom always gave me so much love, but you know, it was like I wanted my dad, I wanted my family. Things changed after I was no longer an only child, you know, when my brother was born, because my brother and I share a 10-year gap. So things did change, but you know, it was just like I said, your brain either chooses to let go or hold on, and I held on. So yeah, it was just beautiful. 2015 holidays was the best time. It was amazing. It was really, really beautiful. I'm so grateful to my mom that she made that happen. You know, I did go back in 2017 to spend my Christmas there. I was pregnant with Amias, and oh, it was even great. It was it's the best. I had the best time. Christmas in Colombia is, you can't compare it. But yeah, it was the best. And now I go back whenever I want. So yeah, guys, you know, that's a little bit of my Christmas traditions. growing up growing up, not really much Christmas traditions, but it's a little bit of insight of what my life was like, more like what my head was like, because my life was very, very blessed, but my heart was very, very sad. So yeah, you know, I'm thankful that now I'm able to go anywhere in the world whenever I want. Such a blessing. And I can see my father, my family during Christmas, Thanksgiving. Well, they don't celebrate Thanksgiving. You know, St. Patrick's Day, Groundhog Day, whenever I want. And it's such a blessing. So these holidays, I'm spending it home with my family. And although it's not back home in my country, this, you know, it's now, I now have a free will to go and do as I please. And nothing compares to that. Nothing. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed my little story time about my childhood growing up, and you know, just the holidays for me, what they were like, what they consisted of. Honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Now that I'm older and I'm grown, I'm thankful for every moment, every tear, everything, because it has made me who I am today. And listen, it is what it is. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Oh my god, you guys, we are like almost done. Vlogmas is over in like a week. I can't believe I really made it. Like, I really did this. This is crazy. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys